Hello everyone, we are going to calculate the slope of a linear function in two different methods. But really it's the same formula. So I'll let you know what I mean. On the left side you see a graphed line on a coordinate grid. On the right side you see coordinate points given and the same question, you have to calculate the slope. We're going to actually do this both ways. So let's talk about the left side. Whenever you have a line that is graphed and it's given to you like this on a graph with 2 points, you are going to use m, which is slope, m equals rise over run. So this formula is used when you have a line on a graph that is given to you, right? So they gave you 2 points, but if they don't give you points, remember you have to pick points on the line that are in the corners of the boxes. And you see exactly what I mean right here. You see how nice and in the corner of the boxes like that point is, and this point. So when you use rise over run, you have to create a right triangle. And when you create that right triangle, you have to go along the grid of the coordinate grid, the graph, right? So you see all of these like lines. So you're going to go on the line and then down, right? So you're making and creating that right triangle. So I'm going to go one way. I'm going to go to the right, and I'm going to go all the way over to the right until I could go down and reach that other point. And I'm going to go down and reach that other point right now, right there. All right, so I went to the right and down. If you didn't see it that way, I'll do another way in yellow. I could go down, instead of to the right first, I can go down and then to the right. Either way, you would be okay, and you're going to get the same answer. First off, this line, you have to realize, this line is going down from left to right. And I know that this is going to be a negative slope. Right off the bat, this has a negative slope, and only reason why I know that is because it's going down from left to right. And the way we read a graph is from left to right. It's like we're reading a book. So let's just go ahead and take the green, for instance. On the green side, I went to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. So I counted the number of times I moved to the right, and that is 4. Then I went down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Since I went down, you notice that there's negatives going down here in the graph. Since I went down 7, I'm going to put a negative 7. Down means negative. Up is positive. Going to the right, like I went up here, is positive. If I went to the left, that would be negative. All right? So my rise is always the up or down. Since I went down the 7, I'm going to put negative 7. Since my run to the right was 4, I'm going to put 4. So my m equals negative 7 over 4. And that's how you would do rise over run on a line that is given to you on a graph. So just to go over the yellow side and just realize that this is the same thing, I would go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be -7 because I went down. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 over to the right. Notice I have the same numbers. My rise would be -7. My run would be 4. It's the same answer. Doesn't matter which way you go, the answer is the same. Let's go over to the right-hand side now. Instead of giving you a graphed line, they could give you 2 points, and they could ask you to find the slope of a line with these 2 points on it. Well, no problem. But instead of having a graph, you have these 2 points. We're going to use a different equation. And the slope formula for a line that is not graphed, that you're given just 2 points, is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So realize the change in the y's, when you subtract the y's, that is the rise. That is the rise on the top, that numerator. The denominator is the change in the x's. So when you're subtracting the x values, you're figuring out how much the run is. All right, so this is the same formula as rise over run. It just looks different, right? But it's not. So the very first thing that you must do with these coordinates is to label your coordinates. Remember, you must label them. It's important because if you don't label them, you're going to be lost with the substitution later on. So this right here, just remember, all coordinates are x, comma, y. X comes first, and then y comes second. So we're going to talk about the coordinate -6, comma 3. This is, -6 is an x value. It's the first x value that you're reading. So we're going to label it x1. This right here, 3, is a y value. We are going to label it y1. It's the first y that we're reading, so that means we're going to label it y1. Number 4, 4, comma 8 is the second set of coordinates, right? So this pair of coordinates on the same line. So 4, that's an x value, but it's the second x value that you're reading, so it's x2. And 8 is the second y value that you're reading. It is y2. You must label. Now we're going to substitute. When you substitute, this is very important. Please set up your fraction like that and put the minus signs in. The minus signs are from the formula. Notice that they have a minus sign on each, in the numerator and in the denominator. So now you're set up where you're going to just substitute the numbers in. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to look at the formula y2. My y2 that I labeled was 8. So I'm just going to put that in there. The minus sign is from the formula. y1 is a 3. So I'm going to put that in there. x2, which is a 4, minus x1, which is a -6. Notice that I have a minus and a negative. So I'm going to bring up my calculator. Once I have my calculator up, I'm going to press this fraction symbol right there, that fraction button. It's going to bring up a numerator and denominator. The calculator is ready for you to input. So you have 8 minus 3 in your numerator, in the top part of your fraction. Then you're going to press down and you're going to put 4 minus a -6. and then press to the right just to get away from that fraction. Look at the fraction I have in my calculator. I have the same thing on my page. Then you press enter and you get 5/10. So remember, that is the answer. But there's an arrow, and that means that you have to simplify this. So what we do is we press the simp button, and it will bring that 5/10 over to the next line, and then you press enter and you get a half. So the slope is a half, and that is your slope. It's a positive slope, means it goes up from left to right. So if you're working on the TI-84 plus CE, we are going to input a fraction by either pressing, there's a lot of different ways, alpha x will bring up the numerator and denominator symbol. All right, so that function is right there. If you press alpha x and x comes up or it doesn't respond, you can press alpha y, and you bring up like a little shortcut menu. And as long as you could press, like, see this 1 right here, that will bring you a fraction up as well. All right, so a lot of different ways. Now you have the fraction on your screen. You have 8 minus 3, and then you have 4 minus a negative 6. And I'm going to press enter, and you get 1/2. There's no need. It doesn't give you the 5/10. It just goes straight to that 1/2. And by the way, you could press this math button. If alpha y doesn't work, you can press the math button. You should have frac on the right hand side of your screen. If you go all the way over to it, there's that shortcut menu that you have when you press alpha y. It's right there on the page. Okay, and that is it. So just remember, slope is a line. It's the measure of a line, the incline or decline of a line. So you're measuring how steep that line is, right? The steeper the slope, the further the slope is away from 0. So for the slopes here, when you have a graphed line, use the points that they give you. Right? Do not use anything else. This line goes down from left to right. You know it's going to be a negative, so you make your right triangle using the 2 points that they give you. This side over here on the right, they don't give you a graph. They just give you 2 points. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 will not be given to you on an exam. You have to know both of these formulas by heart. Remember, it's important to label before you do anything and write the formula down. Don't skip steps, because that's when errors occur. All right, thank you for watching. Have a good night.